Right, hello, welcome to my breakdown reaction for David Benavidez versus Demetrius Andrade. What a what a performance from David Benavidez, I want to say. There were some very interesting moments in this fight that I'm going to get to in a second. But I don't want to say breakthrough night for David Benavidez, but it feels like a breakthrough night, right? Obviously, he had the Caleb Plant fight earlier this year. That was probably more of his breakthrough night, but this feels a bit different. This feels like he's truly like undeniable, right? And I think he is undeniable. I think he was like, honestly, I think he's been undeniable since that Caleb Plant fight. But now he's put truly just kicked the door down and is there now. Um, yeah, I'll get into. I'll now to break down the fight. It was the first 3 rounds were interesting. I picked Demetrius Andrade to win after picking fucking David Benavidez to win for months. I did that at Ryan Garcia and Tank. I was picking Tank to win and stupidly picked Ryan Garcia. But my picking Demetrius Andrade wasn't completely stupid. You look at them first 3 rounds, he was doing really good, boxing really well, and would occasionally, more towards the end of the round, would just kind of swing at David Benavidez, land some really good flurries on him. Do some really good work in his first 3 rounds. Really display. He's awkward because he's a southpaw, right? But he's got awkwardness on top of being a southpaw, which makes him quite a tricky fighter, and it's probably why he's so avoided. But David Benavidez, I kind of expected him to have a slow start. I like I said in my last video, I predicted how this fight was probably going to go. I said I am worried about how Andrade's going to do in the later rounds or when the fight progresses, because you remember the Caleb Plant fight. Caleb Plant had a very good start, and then David Benavidez took over as the fight went on and started battering him. In the 4th round, we were seeing more of the same. David Benavidez was getting him to a bit more until he drops him with a right hand. This is where the fight completely changed, right? Up until in between the 6th and the 7th round, the fight was stopped. It was a completely, basically one-way traffic with David Benavidez. The heart on display from Demetrius Andrade was really impressive. He would try and throw shots, but they were not doing anything. They had no steam on him anymore. He just gassed quickly. David Benavidez wore him out really quickly. He was landing some really good body shots. He displayed patience. He displayed just the ability to get to a man, right? And then get to a man is slippery, and I don't want to say elusive as Demetrius Andrade, because I don't think he's very elusive. People talk about him being elusive. I don't really think he's very elusive. It's just more of his overall style that is tricky for opponents, because he is such a weird kind of guy to fight. He isn't exactly elusive. He can get out of the way of shots. I'm not saying he can't, but he's not no Floyd Mayweather, no Pernell Whitaker, no Willie Pep. He's a fairly standard defensive fighter. He's nothing special. That was the story of it. He's basically out on his feet for the next 2 rounds. Not out on his feet, but he was trying and he was displaying good heart, and I don't know how he stayed standing. I am going to argue, a lot of people saying he quit. I do not believe he quit. Right? I believe that he made a smart decision. In between rounds, he was no way he was going to make a comeback in that fight, right? We never say never, right? But now you can never say never. But there was little to no chance of him making any sort of recovery in that fight. There was a 0.1% chance he'd make a comeback, let alone and that comeback is landing a big shot, which he doesn't do in the later rounds. He probably won't do when he's gassed out, right? So he usually finishes you early or doesn't finish you at all. So there was no chance of him winning, basically. And it was better for him to just preserve his health at 35 years of age. And now, believe it, I reckon he's going to get some bigger fights, because now he's been beat. People are going to think I can beat him. I still think he's a very tricky person to fight. It was definitely a breakout for us, David Benavidez. I'm really impressed. I think, obviously, a couple of months ago, I went from thinking he was going to beat Canelo, so now kind of being like, it's a 50-50, I'm leaning towards Canelo. It's definitely a 50-50 fight, in my opinion. I look forward to that, because that is going to be, I guarantee you that's going to be an amazing fight. And if that's not an amazing fight, then someone's going to put on a really good performance. I don't think you can get a boring fight out of that fight. The rest of the card was okay. Jamal Jarlo, which is the only other really, really, really significant thing that people want to hear about. Jamal Jarlo had a very good performance against Jose Benavidez Jr. for being out of the ring for 2.5 months. He had a really good performance, in my opinion. It was very left hand heavy. Was working really well, throwing like 3 shots off of that left hand, which is really impressive, right? Jose Benavidez gave it all. He came forward trying to throw flurries at some point, as points, but nothing really effective. He might even not have won a round. It was it did that fight shows to me more because Jamal Charlo hit him with some good shots, and Jamal Charlo's a big hitter and quite a big guy, right? Definitely bigger than Jose Benavidez. He was hitting him with shots, and they were phasing Jose Benavidez. They were pushing him back a bit. They were hurting him, but they weren't knocking him down or getting him out. This just makes me think of how fucking hard Crawford must hit for a welterweight, right? That's my thoughts on this. Please like and subscribe, and see you guys in a bit.